Hello and welcome to The Human Curious. If you enjoy exploring the wonders of our world, don't forget to subscribe, share, and like this video. Let's dive in. I remember a night from long ago, a night etched in my memory with the fiery strokes of a volcano's breath. It was a night that transformed my understanding of the world, a night when the earth itself seemed to speak, when I was just 7, a tender age, where the line between reality and fantasy blurred, and the world was a canvas of endless possibilities. The world outside my window was supposed to be dark and quiet, a familiar blanket of peaceful slumber. The stars usually twinkled with a gentle indifference, and the mountains stood as a silent guardian. But on this night the sky pulsed with a deep, menacing orange. It was an unnatural glow, a fiery heartbeat in the darkness that sent shivers down my spine. The color seemed to seep into everything, painting the world in hues of impending doom. The ground vibrated beneath my feet, a subtle tremor at first, then growing stronger with each passing moment, as if a giant was stirring under our house, restless and awakening from a long slumber. It felt like the very foundations of our home were groaning under the strain. Fear gripped me, a cold, clammy hand squeezing my heart. This was no ordinary night. This was something primal, something beyond my comprehension, a force of nature unleashed. I crept from my bed, drawn by an irresistible force, a morbid curiosity mixed with sheer terror, and found my grandmother silhouetted against the glowing window. Her presence was a beacon of calm in the swirling chaos. She watched the spectacle with awe, not fear. Her face was illuminated by the fiery glow, her eyes wide with a strange mixture of respect and wonder. The mountain on the horizon, usually a friend, a comforting presence in our daily lives, was now a fountain of fire, a raging inferno reaching towards the heavens, spewing molten rock into the night, like fiery tears streaming down its face. Each burst of lava was a testament to the raw power contained within. I tugged on her sleeve, whispering, "What's happening?" My voice was barely audible above the rumbling. She pulled me close, wrapping her arm around me in a gesture of comfort and protection. Her eyes reflecting the distant fire, mirroring the spectacle unfolding before us. They held a wisdom that transcended my young understanding. The air smelled of sulfur, sharp and strange, a pungent odor that stung my nostrils and filled my lungs. The sound was a roar, ancient and powerful, a symphony of destruction and creation. She pointed to the fiery peak, her finger trembling slightly. "The earth is breathing, little one," she whispered, her voice raspy but firm. "Sometimes it holds its breath for a long time, gathering its strength, building up the pressure. And when it lets go, it breathes fire." Her words painted a vivid picture, transforming the terrifying eruption into a natural, almost beautiful process. Her words didn't erase my fear. The primal instinct to flee from danger was still strong, but they planted a seed of wonder, a spark of curiosity that would forever change the way I saw the world. The idea that our planet was alive, not just a solid rock hurtling through space, but a living, breathing entity with breaths and sighs, with moments of explosive anger and periods of quiet contemplation, transformed the terrifying mountain, the source of my childhood nightmares, into something I could almost understand, something I could almost respect. It was no longer just a threat, but a force of nature to be reckoned with. That moment shaped my curiosity for a lifetime, igniting a passion for understanding the natural world and our place within it. The fire outside was no longer just destruction, a symbol of chaos and devastation. It was the Earth's voice, a raw and unfiltered expression of its inner workings, and I listened, captivated by the Earth's powerful roar, forever changed by the night the mountain spoke. That night a question took root in my mind. Was this fire only destruction, or was it also a beginning? We often see volcanoes as chaos, dangerous, unpredictable reminders that we are passengers on a restless planet. But this question is ancient. For millennia, people have looked at erupting mountains and wondered, why? What does it mean? Lacking science, our ancestors turned to myth, seeing volcanoes as messages from the gods. The fire became a sign, the trembling earth a divine mood. Eruptions were stories told by the universe itself, manifestations of anger, creation, or struggle. By exploring these myths, we see our need to find meaning in chaos. We still ask, is this fire an end or a beginning? Journey with me to Hawaii, a place where the raw power of nature is on full display. Here, islands rose majestically from the sea, forged in the crucible of volcanic fire. Imagine the immense heat and pressure, the slow, relentless buildup, culminating in a spectacular display of geological force. For the ancient Polynesians who first settled these lands, volcanoes were not merely geological formations, but living entities. They were embodied by Pele, the fiery goddess of fire, a force to be reckoned with, a symbol of creation and destruction intertwined. She was the land, and the land was her. When the ground shakes with tremors and rivers of molten lava flow relentlessly, carving new paths across the landscape, it's said that Pele is dancing, expressing her power, shaping the land to her will, a constant reminder of her presence. These eruptions are not seen as disasters, but as sacred events, a natural part of the cycle of life and death, creation and recreation, and so, offerings are reverently left for Pele, tokens of respect and gratitude for her power and the life she brings, even in destruction. Her lava is not just molten rock, it is her very body, her lifeblood, the essence of her being. To disrespect it, to take it for granted, is to disrespect the goddess herself, inviting her wrath and disrupting the delicate balance of nature. This personification of nature's forces gave meaning to the apparent chaos, providing a framework for understanding and coexisting with the unpredictable power of volcanoes. It transformed potentially devastating eruptions into powerful stories of passion, destruction, and ultimately renewal, reminding people of the cyclical nature of existence. Across the vast expanse of the Pacific Ring of Fire, a region known for its intense seismic and volcanic activity, similar tales and beliefs abound, echoing the shared human experience of living in the shadow of powerful natural forces. In Japan, the majestic Mount Fuji is not just a mountain, but a revered spirit, a symbol of national identity, and a source of artistic inspiration. And in the Philippines, the numerous volcanoes are believed to house mythical beings, guardians of the land, their moods reflected in the activity of the earth. These captivating stories were more than just myths. They were practical survival guides, passed down through generations, encoding crucial knowledge about the potential dangers of living near volcanoes and the importance of respecting the power and unpredictability of the land. They fostered a deep and abiding connection to the earth, a sense of belonging and responsibility towards the natural world. This was a relationship built not on fear, but on a profound sense of awe and a deep understanding of the natural phenomena that shaped their lives. Through these myths, the volatile and often dangerous planet felt less like a threat and more like a home, a place where humans could coexist with the forces of nature. And even today, these ancient stories continue to echo in our imaginations, reminding us of the power and mystery of the natural world and our enduring connection to it. In the Mediterranean, volcanoes told a different story. The Romans saw not a goddess but Vulcan, god of fire and metalwork, forging thunderbolts beneath Mount Etna. The word volcano comes from his name. Eruptions were the byproduct of divine labor, a cosmic factory at work. But when Vesuvius buried Pompeii, myth gave way to observation. The power was no longer just divine but raw and impersonal. It marked a turning point, from myth to science, from stories to understanding. In the East, fire is central to belief. In Hinduism, Agni is the fire god, a messenger between worlds. Volcanic fire is his earthly roar. Eruptions fit the cycle of creation and destruction. Shiva's dance clearing the way for new life. In Islamic tradition, volcanoes are home to jinn, beings of smokeless fire, their activity glimpsed in eruptions. These stories give context to chaos, transforming geology into a dialogue with the divine. They remind us when faced with overwhelming power, we seek meaning. Myths are our bridge to understanding the mysterious. For centuries, volcanic eruptions were attributed to the wrath of gods or the whims of nature, shrouded in mystery and fear. But today, we have science to explain the Earth's fire, to understand the forces at play beneath our feet. We can now unravel the complex processes that lead to these spectacular and sometimes devastating events. It all comes down to pressure, immense pressure building up deep within the Earth. This pressure is the driving force behind volcanic activity, the invisible hand that shapes our planet's surface. Understanding this pressure is key to understanding volcanoes themselves. Think of it like a shaken soda bottle. The dissolved gases are under pressure, and when you release the cap, they explode out. The same principle applies to volcanoes, but on a much grander and more powerful scale. Deep within the Earth, the planet builds up gas and heat beneath its crust. A slow and relentless process that can take centuries or even millennia. This accumulation of energy is what ultimately fuels the eruption. Deep underground, under immense pressure and heat, rock melts into magma, a molten soup of minerals and gases. This magma is the lifeblood of volcanoes, the raw material that fuels their eruptions. This magma, less dense than the surrounding rock, begins rising slowly, relentlessly, collecting in vast chambers beneath the Earth's surface. These chambers act as reservoirs, storing the molten rock until the pressure becomes too great. Trapped gases dissolved within the magma build pressure within these chambers like a tightly wound spring. These gases, primarily water vapor, carbon dioxide, and sulfur dioxide, are incredibly volatile. The pressure continues to mount, exceeding the strength of the surrounding rock, until the rock can't hold it anymore. Cracks and fissures begin to form, weak points in the Earth's crust. When a crack opens, a pathway is created, and magma surges upward, driven by the immense pressure from below. The race to the surface begins. As the magma nears the surface, the pressure drops dramatically and gases explode out of solution, expanding rapidly and violently. It's just like unscrewing a soda cap, but with the force of a nuclear explosion. The sudden release of pressure is what causes the eruption to be so explosive. The eruption is the Earth's release, a necessary and inevitable consequence of the forces at play within. It's a dramatic display of the planet's internal energy. Molten rock, now called lava, bursts forth as lava, flowing across the landscape, reshaping the terrain in its wake. Along with the lava comes ash, a fine powder of pulverized rock, and rock ejected with tremendous force into the atmosphere. The rumble we feel is the planet's bones shifting, the Earth groaning under the immense forces unleashed during the eruption. It's the explosive release of ancient energy that has been building up for millions of years, finally finding its way to the surface. It's not the anger of gods, a supernatural event, or a punishment from above. It's simply the physics of pressure and release, a natural process governed by the laws of nature. The Earth sighs, releasing the pent-up pressure, finding equilibrium once more. It's a deep, hot, world-altering breath, a reminder of the powerful forces that shape our planet. This is the true language of volcanoes, a language of pressure, heat, and release, a language that science is helping us to understand. Science doesn't erase the wonder, it deepens it, allowing us to appreciate the complexity and beauty of these natural phenomena. We see the Earth as alive, a dynamic and active planet constantly changing and evolving. It is dynamic and ever-changing, a testament to the powerful forces at work beneath the surface. And we are witnesses to its breath, privileged observers of this incredible display of Earth's power. Pressure is a universal force. It shapes stars, black holes, and our own planet. Earth's crust is broken into tectonic plates floating on molten mantle. Most volcanoes form where plates meet, pulling apart or colliding. Where plates diverge, magma rises gently. Where they collide, it's explosive. Subduction melts rock, creating gas-rich magma, the source of violent eruptions. Volcanoes are Earth's release valves, venting heat and pressure. Without them, pressure would build to catastrophic levels. Eruptions, though destructive, are vital for planetary health. They are the heartbeat of a living world. The ground beneath us is not static, it's alive, breathing, and part of the cosmic story. The Earth's pressure and release is a metaphor for our lives. We too build up tension, stress, anger, sadness, until it must be released. Suppressing it only increases the risk of an explosive outburst. Some eruptions are messy, others controlled. A conversation, a workout, a creative act. Healthy release is key to stability, just as volcanoes keep the planet alive. A life without pressure is inert. A world without eruptions is dead. The challenge isn't to eliminate pressure, but to manage it. Find your own release valves. Let your eruptions be creative, not destructive. Be your own careful geologist. Is volcanic fire destruction or something deeper? It's both. Eruptions devastate, but over time their ash creates fertile soil. Civilizations thrive in the shadow of volcanoes, drawn by renewal. Volcanic activity shaped our atmosphere and oceans, perhaps even sparked life itself. The fire that destroys also gives birth. We are, in a sense, children of the fire. Let us respect the danger, but also marvel at the creation. The Earth's breath is a cycle, pressure and release, ending and beginning. It connects planetary forces to our deepest emotions. The fire reminds us we are part of something ancient, powerful, and alive. My story begins not with a bang, but with a quiver, a faint tremor in my childhood home. At 8, I was lost in books about ancient worlds when the window rattled, a vibration my family dismissed as a passing lorry. But to me, it felt like a secret message from deep within the earth. That tiny shudder sparked a lifelong curiosity. I started seeking out these tremors, listening for the planet's hidden voice. I'd lie in the garden, ear pressed to the ground, imagining I could hear the world turning. For my 10th birthday, my parents gave me a simple seismograph kit. Assembling it felt sacred. It became my window into a hidden dimension. The jagged lines it drew were the Earth's secret language, poetry, not just data. My bedroom walls filled with seismographic charts, each one a page from the planet's diary. I learned to distinguish the sharp signature of a tectonic slip from the deeper pulse of a volcanic event. My friends didn't understand my obsession, but I saw the Earth as alive. The more I learned, the more my childhood intuition felt validated. The Earth wasn't static. It was dynamic, powerful, and delicately balanced. Tremors weren't random destruction. They were the planet adjusting itself, breathing in its cosmic sleep. My journey to volcanology was more than a career. It was a continuation of that first conversation with the world beneath my feet. I devoured books on geology and volcanology, eager to decode the planet's language. Each new discovery deepened my sense of connection. The Earth's stirrings mirrored my own inner world, anxieties, excitements, and wonder. I realized I wasn't just studying rocks. I was listening to the heartbeat of a living planet. That first tremor set me on a path of lifelong listening, and I've never stopped. My first field assignment was at Mount Yasur in Vanuatu, a place where the Earth speaks in a steady, percussive beat. Every few minutes the volcano groans, releasing ash and gas with a deep roar. Here, seismic data became visceral reality. I could feel the vibrations in my chest. We set up instruments around the volcano, measuring ground deformation, gas emissions, and the constant seismic hum. It was like taking the planet's vital signs. The work demanded patience and respect for the immense forces at play. At night, the summit glowed with a hypnotic rhythm, far from the chaos often portrayed in popular culture. Instead, Yasur's eruptions were controlled, cyclical, almost peaceful. The local Vanuatu people have lived with this rhythm for centuries, seeing the volcano as both life-giving and destructive. This experience changed my perspective. Volcanoes aren't just geological features, but focal points of planetary energy. They're nodes in a global network where the Earth's inner world meets the sky. Yasur taught me to see the planet as a single integrated organism. Its eruptions weren't signs of sickness but expressions of vitality. The volcano's steady beat was the pulse of a living world. I learned to read subtle shifts, changes in eruption frequency or gas composition, as signs of what might come. The volcano's rhythm became a language I could almost understand. It was a reminder that the Earth is alive, always communicating. The planet's breath was visible in every plume and tremor. I realized that to study volcanoes is to listen to the world's heartbeat, and in that rhythm I found a new sense of awe. The Earth was alive, and I was listening. Society often sees volcanoes as agents of disaster, ash clouds, lava flows, chaos. But this view is incomplete. Volcanoes are essential to the Earth's regulatory system, circulating materials from the interior to the surface. The gases they release helped form our atmosphere and oceans. Their ash creates fertile soils that have supported civilizations for millennia. They are creators as much as destroyers. As a child, I felt my heart race with anxiety. Chaotic, overwhelming. Studying volcanoes, I saw the same. Frantic tremors before eruptions, but also a steady meditative pulse in calmer times. This rhythm is a sign of balance, not just danger. Seeing volcanoes as the planet's heartbeat changes our relationship with them, from fear to reverence. They remind us that life is sustained by powerful, sometimes violent processes. The Earth's heartbeat isn't always gentle, but it's always vital. Volcanoes are a reminder of the planet's immense energy and creativity. They are not aberrations but essential parts of a living world. To understand them is to appreciate the dual nature of creation and destruction, and to listen for the heartbeat beneath our feet. My travels took me to Indonesia and Turkey, where I encountered Islamic cosmology's view of mountains as autad, pegs stabilizing the Earth. The Quran's metaphor is strikingly close to modern geology. Mountain ranges with deep roots anchor the continental crust. Their mass stabilizes tectonic plates, echoing ancient wisdom. This convergence of spiritual insight and science transformed how I saw volcanoes. They're not just vents, but part of a system of planetary balance. The Quranic metaphor gave me new language, mountains as pegs and conduits, anchoring and connecting earth and sky. This view adds sacredness to science. Studying the Earth becomes an exploration of a divinely ordered creation. Mountains fulfill a purpose, holding the world in a life-sustaining embrace. The idea that they prevent shaking is both poetic and scientifically resonant. Ancient wisdom and modern science often climb the same mountain from different sides. In every volcano I saw both stability and dynamic change. and a reminder that our search for understanding is universal. In the Andes of Peru, I met the Quechua belief in Apus, mountains as conscious spiritual beings. The Apus are guardians, influencing weather, fertility, and protection. Offerings and prayers to the Apus are part of daily life, a relationship, not superstition. The Quechua see themselves as part of a family with the mountains as elders. As a scientist, this was a revelation. My instruments could measure a volcano's activity but not its consciousness. The Apu concept invited me to consider the Earth as not just a system, but a conscious presence. This perspective doesn't contradict science, it enriches it, encouraging humility and reverence. Viewing a mountain as a living Apu changes how you listen and observe. It reminds us that knowledge goes beyond instruments and equations. The spirit of the mountain is as real as its geology. The Apus open the door to a more holistic understanding. Science and spirit can coexist, deepening our respect for the land, and every mountain becomes a teacher. Modern science reveals a dynamic planet at its center, a solid iron-nickel core as hot as the sun. This core oscillates and rotates, acting as a colossal dynamo. The movement of molten iron generates our magnetic field, a shield protecting life from cosmic radiation. Without it, our atmosphere would vanish. The core is the engine of habitability. Volcanoes are direct conduits to the deep interior, bringing heat and materials to the surface. Massive eruptions can even leave magnetic signatures in the crust. Science uncovers a world of hidden motion and colossal forces. The oscillating core, magnetic field, and volcanoes form an interconnected system. The Earth is not just metaphorically alive, it is physically active and self-regulating. This scientific story is as awe-inspiring as any spiritual cosmology. It reveals a planet in constant creation and protection. The Earth's scientific soul pulses beneath our feet. The Earth, like the human body, endures and expresses stress. Tectonic plates grind for centuries, building strain until a rupture releases it as an earthquake. This is the planet's way of releasing tension. The process mirrors psychological trauma. Humans store stress until it erupts as panic or illness. Volcanoes too build pressure for millennia before erupting in spectacular release. Therapy helps us process hidden traumas, just as eruptions bring the planet's inner turmoil to the surface. Understanding this parallel deepens empathy for both the Earth and ourselves. Violent outbursts aren't acts of malice but consequences of stored stress. Both planet and people seek balance in a dynamic world. The geology of the Earth reflects our own inner psychology. We are all engaged in storing and releasing energy. Compassion for ourselves and the planet is essential. We are all seeking equilibrium. The Sufi tradition sees all creation engaged in dhikr, remembrance of the divine. Every atom, leaf, and star vibrates with this sacred memory. The Earth itself is seen as breathing a planetary meditation. Nature's cycles from seasons to tides are part of this breath. The Earth is not inert, but an active participant in a cosmic chorus. This idea imbues the world with sanctity and purpose. As a volcanologist, I see the planet's breath and convection uplift and volcanic exhalations. Even eruptions become mighty sighs, expressions of remembrance. The Sufi view synthesizes science and spirit, expanding our perception. Geological processes gain spiritual resonance. The Earth's breath is both physical and sacred. My work becomes a form of listening to the planet's meditative breath. My journey began with a trembling floor and led to a reverence for a living planet. The Earth speaks in many languages: seismic waves, mountain metaphors, and the silent language of the heart. To truly understand, we must listen to them all. Science gives us tools to measure the Earth's pulse, revealing its intricate mechanics. But science alone can't explain the awe we feel before a volcano. For that, we need the wisdom of spirit. Spiritual traditions teach us to relate to the Earth as a living being. The Incan Apu, Islamic mountain peg, and Sufi breath are sophisticated ways of knowing our interconnectedness. We are part of a living system. Our well-being is tied to the planets. The journey into the Earth is a journey into the self. The planet's rhythms mirror our own search for balance. Science, spirit, and self are facets of one reality. To stand before a breathing mountain is to witness the convergence of all these truths. For weeks there was only silence, a profound stillness that settled over the world like a heavy blanket. The usual symphony of the planet, the subtle creaks and groans of tectonic plates shifting, the distant rumbles of volcanic activity, all faded into an eerie nothingness. It was a silence that pressed in on you, a void where sound should have been, a deep, unnatural quiet that stretched from the Earth's core to the stars. It was as if the very fabric of reality had muted itself, leaving behind an unsettling emptiness that resonated in the soul. The cosmos itself seemed to hold its breath, mirroring the strange tranquility gripping our planet. Dr. Eris Thorne, a geologist, a man dedicated to understanding the Earth's hidden language, felt this silence more acutely than most. Had spent his life listening to the planet's subtle movements, deciphering the stories whispered by the rocks and the rumblings beneath our feet. He had dedicated his life to understanding the planet's intricate symphony. His instruments, buried deep in a mountain, far from the noise and distractions of civilization, were tuned to the faintest tremors, the slightest vibrations that rippled through the Earth's crust. He sought to capture the planet's heartbeat, but for 27 days, there was nothing. The needles on his seismographs remained stubbornly still, the screens displaying only flat lines. The Earth seemed to be holding its breath, suspended in a state of unnerving calm. It was a stillness that defied explanation, a geological anomaly that baffled even the most seasoned experts. The silence was so complete it felt louder than any noise, a deafening absence that filled the mountain laboratory with an almost palpable tension. The air itself seemed to vibrate with the anticipation of something about to break. Then, on the 28th day, everything changed. The silence shattered, replaced by something entirely new and unexpected. A new sound emerged, a sound unlike any other he had ever encountered in his years of research. A low melodic hum, steady and resonant, vibrating through his equipment, filling the laboratory with an almost tangible energy. It resonated not just in his instruments, but deep within his bones. The frequency was unlike anything he'd ever recorded, a complex and intricate pattern that defied all known geological phenomena. Structured, purposeful, as if it were designed with intention, carrying a message encoded within its very vibrations, almost alive. It pulsed with a vitality that suggested something far beyond the realm of inanimate rock and mineral. It wasn't geological, it felt ancient, organic, vast, as if it originated from a time before time, from the very dawn of the planet. Dr. Thorne checked and rechecked his equipment, calibrating and recalibrating, searching for any possible error or malfunction. Every test confirmed it. The signal was real, undeniably present and originating from deep within the Earth. It came from deep beneath the crust, from a place where the Earth's secrets are buried, a place of unimaginable pressure and heat, a realm of molten rock and crushing forces that should have extinguished any possibility of such a sound. Yet the sound was gentle, like a lullaby sung by a giant, a soothing melody emanating from the heart of the world. The hum rose and fell in a slow rhythmic pattern, a pulse, a heartbeat, a breath taken by something immense and ancient. Thorne sat for hours listening to the planet's impossible song, mesmerized by its haunting beauty and profound mystery. Outside, the world continued as usual, cars honking, cities bustling, people living their lives, completely unaware of the extraordinary event unfolding deep beneath their feet. But for Thorne, everything had changed. The world had revealed a secret, a hidden layer of reality that he could no longer ignore. The ground beneath him was no longer just rock and soil, but a living, breathing entity with a voice of its own. The silence had been broken, replaced by a question that would consume him, a burning desire to understand the source and meaning of this impossible sound. What was down there, sleeping in the heart of our world? What ancient being slumbered beneath the surface, dreaming dreams that shaped the very planet? The hum was not a random event, it was a message, a deliberate communication from the depths. It was as if the Earth itself was trying to speak, to communicate something vital to the surface world. Thorne felt both awe and fear, a sense of wonder mixed with a primal dread of the unknown. He realized he was listening to something alive, something vast and dreaming, something that dwarfed humanity in both scale and age. The world was not as silent as it seemed. Beneath the surface, a hidden symphony played on, a secret language spoken by the Earth itself. The mystery had only just begun, and Dr. Thorne knew, with a certainty that chilled him to the bone, that his life would never be the same. That night, Dr. Thorne struggled to sleep. His mind raced, replaying the day's events, the strange readings, the unsettling hum. He tossed and turned, the weight of his discoveries pressing down on him. Sleep offered no escape, only a deeper descent into the unknown. The hum echoed in his mind, a persistent drone that seemed to vibrate through the very bones of his skull. It was a sound that defied explanation, a frequency that resonated with something ancient and powerful. He couldn't shake it, couldn't silence it, It was as if the sound had become a part of him. When he finally drifted off, exhaustion pulling him under, it was not to rest, but to a journey far stranger than any he could have conceived. He dreamed he was floating in darkness, a vast, infinite expanse where stars were mere pinpricks of light. There was no up, no down, only the sensation of drifting, suspended in the void. He felt utterly alone, yet strangely connected to everything around him. He was drawn downwards, towards the planet's core, a place of unimaginable heat and pressure. He saw molten rock churning, energy swirling, the very heart of the world beating like a colossal drum. Below him, a colossal being slept, a being of such immense scale that it defied comprehension. Its presence filled the void, radiating power and ancient wisdom, its form made of starlight and molten rock, a tapestry of cosmic energy woven into a shape both terrifying and beautiful. Nebulae swirled around it like a celestial blanket, and rivers of lava flowed through its veins, its skin the texture of continents, vast landmasses etched with the stories of ages. Deserts stretched like wrinkles and forests grew like hair upon its gargantuan form. Mountains were wrinkles on its body, testament to the passage of eons, each peak a monument to the slow, relentless forces that shaped the world. They stood as silent guardians, watching over the slumbering giant. Oceans, shallow pools in its hands, cradling life within their depths, reflecting the starlight above. They were like tears, or perhaps dreams, held within the grasp of the sleeping god. The entire planet was the body of this immense, slumbering entity, a living, breathing organism on a scale that dwarfed humanity's understanding. It was a revelation that shattered his perception of reality. He felt its breath, a gentle cosmic wind that stirred the stars, a slow, powerful rhythm that moved continents and shaped the world, a testament to the immense power contained within this sleeping form. The very ground beneath his feet was shifting in response to its slumber. The hum was the sleeper's thoughts, murmuring through stone, a constant, low-frequency drone that permeated everything. It was the language of the earth itself, a language that Thorn was only beginning to understand. Volcanoes were its pores, spewing forth molten rock and ash, releasing the pent-up energy of the Earth's core. Earthquakes, its unconscious movements, tremors that shook the world and reminded humanity of the immense power that lay dormant beneath their feet. The Earth was not dead, but alive, a vibrant, pulsating organism teeming with life and energy, a living being dreaming, its dreams shaping the very fabric of reality. Humanity lived on its surface, like microbes on the skin of a giant, oblivious to the true nature of their home, their lives intertwined with the fate of this sleeping god. Thorn awoke, gasping for air, his heart pounding in his chest. The image of the sleeping figure burned into his memory, an indelible mark etched upon his soul. He could still feel its presence, its immense power, its ancient wisdom. The dream felt more real than waking life, blurring the lines between the tangible and the ethereal. He questioned what was real and what was merely a figment of his imagination. It redefined everything he knew about the world, shattering his preconceived notions and forcing him to confront a reality far stranger and more profound than he could have ever imagined. The hum was not just a sound, not just a geological anomaly. It was a sign, a cosmic signal emanating from the depths of the earth, a call to something greater. We are not alone on this planet, not in the way we thought. We are inhabitants of a dreaming god, our world shaped by its cosmic sleep, our lives intertwined with its fate. The dream was a message, a revelation, a glimpse into the true nature of reality. Thorn knew he could never see the earth the same way again, his perspective forever altered by the dream's profound impact. The hum was a call to awaken, to open our eyes to the truth, to understand our place in the grand cosmic scheme. The mystery was deeper than he'd ever imagined, a cosmic enigma that stretched beyond the boundaries of human comprehension, beckoning him to explore the unknown. The idea of Earth as a living, conscious being is ancient. Gnostic traditions spoke of Sophia, a divine being whose fall created the material world, our Earth as her sleeping body. In these myths, Sophia dreams and humanity carries a spark of her essence. Our journey is to awaken ourselves, and in doing so, help awaken the planet. The hum from below could be Sophia's murmur, a longing for her forgotten celestial home. The sleeping entity theory echoes these old stories. Science and myth both seek to understand the mystery of our living world. Perhaps the hum is both a geological event and a spiritual echo. In Islamic thought, humanity is shaped from the earth's clay. We are not visitors. We are born of the planet's substance. Our bodies are made of its minerals and water. To harm the Earth is to harm ourselves. If the Earth is a living entity, we are part of its dream, fleeting thoughts given form. Death is not an end, but a return to the greater dreaming mind of the planet. The hum from the core could be a call to remember our origin. Our lives are part of a larger, slower cycle. We are the Earth, experiencing itself. Our existence is a brief gift from a slumbering world. The mystery of the hum is a reminder of where we belong. For Aboriginal Australians, the Dreamtime is the timeless reality beneath our own. Ancestral spirits shaped the land and merged with it. Mountains, rivers, and rocks are their sleeping forms. The land is alive, conscious, and filled with memory. The sleeping entity theory aligns with this worldview. The Earth is a mosaic of dreaming spirits. The hum could be the collective murmur of these ancestors. Geological forces are the physical echoes of their eternal stories. The Earth is not just sleeping, it is actively dreaming. We live inside a myth and the land itself is the storyteller. Our role is to listen and keep the dream in balance. The hum is the voice of the Dreamtime, still alive beneath our feet. Science, too, hints at a living Earth. The Gaia Hypothesis sees the planet as a self-regulating system, life and geology intertwined. The Earth behaves like a single organism, maintaining conditions for life. Panspermia suggests life is a cosmic property, and planets are vessels for awakening. The sleeping entity theory asks, what if this system has a form of consciousness? The hum could be the pulse of a planetary life form. Science gives us systems and cycles. Myth gives us dreamers and sleepers. Both may be describing the same truth from different angles. The mystery of the hum bridges science and myth. Our world may be more alive than we ever imagined. Carl Jung believed the world mirrors our unconscious mind. Our myths of sleeping gods reflect our own hidden depths. The Earth becomes the ultimate mirror of our collective self. The hum is not just external, it resonates with our collective psyche. Volcanoes and earthquakes echo our own inner shifts. The quest to understand the Earth is a quest to understand ourselves. The sleeping entity is within us, as much as beneath us. We are dreaming the world into existence. Let's return to the hum, the dream of the sleeper beneath the crust. What if the Earth is a colossal being and its sleep is ending? The hum is new, a change in the pattern. What if earthquakes, volcanoes, and shifting weather are signs the sleeper is stirring? Natural disasters become the movements of a waking giant. Our civilization is built on the skin of a creature we never knew existed. Now it may be starting to move. We are not masters, but tenants at the mercy of the Earth's sleep. The hum is not just a curiosity, it could be an alarm. The dream may be ending. We must reconsider our place in this world. The ground beneath us is alive, and it is waking up. The mystery is urgent, and we are part of it. So, after considering all these perspectives, where does this leave us in our understanding of the world and our place within it? What conclusions can we draw from contemplating the Earth as a conscious entity? Perhaps on a world that might be dreaming, a world teeming with unseen connections and hidden sentience. A world where the very rocks and rivers possess a form of awareness we are only beginning to grasp. We can choose to see the Earth as a complex machine, a collection of interconnected systems operating according to the laws of physics, a resource to be managed and exploited. Or we can embrace the idea of it as a living, breathing being, a vast and intricate organism with its own needs, desires, and inherent wisdom. The sleeping entity theory invites us to listen deeply, to truly pay attention to the subtle cues and whispers of the natural world, to the hum of the forests, to the rhythm of the seasons, to the subtle shifts and cycles that govern all life on this planet, to the heartbeat of the world, the constant pulse of life that sustains us all. We are not separate from nature. We are intrinsically linked, woven into the fabric of life itself. We are its expression, a manifestation of its boundless creativity and potential. Whether the Earth is a literal giant, slumbering beneath our feet, or simply a mirror reflecting the depths of our own collective soul, our connection to this planet is undeniably deep, profound, and ultimately mysterious. If the Earth dreams, what are the implications? Then creativity itself is not just a human trait, but a fundamental planetary force, a cosmic imperative. Our art, our stories, our myths and legends are perhaps echoes of a much larger, more ancient, and infinitely more powerful imagination at play. We are the part of the Earth's dream, the fragment of its consciousness that has awakened to the possibility of its own existence. The next time you feel a tremor beneath your feet, wonder, is it merely the predictable movement of geology, the grinding of tectonic plates, or the stirring of a giant, a shift in the Earth's own awareness. The next time you hear the roar of the ocean, ask yourself, is it simply the moon's gravitational pull, the predictable dance of tidal forces, or the slow, steady breath of a living planet, a conscious entity in constant communication? Ultimately, the sleeping entity theory offers us wonder, not definitive answers, a sense of awe and humility in the face of the unknown. We are all part of a grand, interconnected and perpetually dreaming mystery, a universe teeming with possibilities beyond our wildest imaginings. The day the world caught fire. A day etched forever in the collective memory of humankind. It wasn't a sudden blaze but a slow burn, a creeping inferno that started in the Earth's very core. The skies turned a sickly orange and the air grew heavy with the scent of impending doom. Began not with a bang but with a rumble, a deep guttural groan from the planet itself, a warning tremor that few heeded until it was far too late. The ground beneath our feet, once a symbol of stability, became a treacherous dance floor. In Sicily, Mount Etna erupted with a fury unseen in recorded history, a volcanic tantrum that shattered the peace of the island and sent shockwaves across the globe. Molten rock spewed forth like the blood of the earth, a visceral display of nature's raw power, its ash blotting out the sun, casting a perpetual twilight over the land. The vibrant colors of the world faded, replaced by a monochrome palette of gray and black, a visual representation of the despair that was beginning to take hold. And turning the Mediterranean sky into twilight, the once azure waters reflected the ominous glow, creating an unsettling mirror image of the chaos above. The air hung thick and heavy, making each breath a struggle. Catania was bathed in an eerie orange glow, a spectral illumination that painted the ancient city in hues of fire and brimstone. The familiar landmarks took on a sinister quality, as if the city itself was a character in this unfolding tragedy. As statues of saints wept black rain, a macabre spectacle, a sign of divine sorrow or perhaps divine abandonment. The tears of stone seemed to echo the unspoken fears of the people, a collective lament for a world on the brink. The air thickened with sulfur and ancient rage, a palpable sense of the earth's fury unleashed. It was a primal scream, a desperate attempt to shake off the weight of human hubris and reclaim its rightful place. This was not an isolated event. It was a symphony of destruction, a global chorus of volcanic eruptions that signaled a fundamental shift in the planet's equilibrium. Across the Pacific, the Ring of Fire erupted in a terrifying coordinated chorus, a fiery necklace of destruction tightening around the world. The Earth groaned under the strain, its tectonic plates shifting and colliding in a deadly dance. Tokyo vanished behind Mount Fuji's smoke, the iconic symbol of Japan swallowed by the very earth it stood upon. The vibrant metropolis, once a beacon of innovation and progress, was now shrouded in a volcanic shroud. Seattle was dusted with Mount Rainier's ash. The Emerald City, once known for its lush greenery, was now coated in a layer of gray, a grim reminder of the dormant giant that slumbered beneath. Rivers of molten rock carved new paths, incandescent veins of destruction snaking across the landscape. The earth bled fire, a visceral display of its inner turmoil, consuming forests and homes with indifferent hunger. The unstoppable flow of lava erased everything in its path, a stark reminder of nature's indifference to human endeavors. Nature panicked, the delicate balance of the ecosystem shattered, as animals fled in terror, their instincts screaming of impending doom. Birds fell from the sky, their wings failing them in the toxic atmosphere, a tragic symbol of the fragility of life. Whales beached themselves, disoriented and desperate, seeking refuge from the boiling oceans, only to find death on the shore. Oceans boiled near volcanic vents, the life-giving waters transformed into a cauldron of death. The delicate marine ecosystems, already under stress, faced annihilation. We watched, transfixed by the horror and beauty of it all, a morbid fascination with the unfolding apocalypse, a sense of helplessness in the face of overwhelming power. Realizing the raw power we thought we'd conquered, the illusion of control shattered, revealing the true extent of our vulnerability. The ground buckled, cracked, and roared, a symphony of destruction that echoed across the continents. The very foundations of our world were crumbling. The illusion of stability shattered in hours, as buildings crumbled, bridges collapsed, and the infrastructure that held our society together disintegrated before our eyes. We were no longer the protagonists, our stories, our ambitions, our very existence dwarfed by the scale of the catastrophe. just spectators or perhaps the unfortunate extras caught in the crossfire of a cosmic drama we could not comprehend. In a play we did not write. The script was rewritten by forces beyond our control, a tragedy of epic proportions. The stage itself had come alive, the earth awakening from its slumber, a sleeping giant roused to a destructive fury. And we were at its mercy. Tiny, insignificant figures against the backdrop of a world consumed by fire and ash, our fate hanging precariously in the balance. As the world descended into chaos, with eruptions shaking the very foundations of civilization, one mind, amidst the widespread panic and confusion, found a strange and unsettling clarity. Dr. Aris Thorne, a seasoned volcanologist, stood in his darkened Hawaiian observatory, a sanctuary usually filled with the hum of instruments and the glow of monitors. He ignored the frantic alerts flashing across the data streams, the urgent warnings of impending doom, lost instead in a vivid memory, a cherished moment of his childhood spent with his grandfather at the edge of Kilauea. "The earth breathes, my boy," his grandfather had said, his voice a low rumble against the backdrop of the volcano's breath. "We live on the chest of a sleeping giant," he continued, his eyes twinkling with ancient knowledge. As a child, young Aris had dismissed it as folklore, a quaint story told to entertain and perhaps instill a sense of respect for nature's power. But now, decades later, with the world teetering on the brink, the words echoed in his mind, not as a comforting tale, but as a chilling curse. The synchronized eruptions, occurring across the globe with terrifying precision, weren't random, isolated exhalations of pent-up pressure. They were a single unified event, a massive, planet-wide phenomenon unlike anything he had ever studied or imagined. A sharp, deep intake of breath, as if the earth itself were drawing in air. The myth, the legend, was no longer a metaphor, a symbolic representation of natural forces. It was a literal warning, a prophecy unfolding before his very eyes. For decades, Aris had dedicated his life to reducing volcanoes to cold, hard data and complex mathematical models, systematically dismissing the ancestral wisdom, the ancient knowledge passed down through generations. Now, as the world burned around him, consumed by fire and ash, the sterile language of science felt hollow, inadequate to explain the cataclysm that was unfolding. The myths, once relegated to the realm of superstition, suddenly felt undeniably real, imbued with a terrifying truth. His grandfather's seemingly innocent warning was not just a folksy saying but a literal description of reality, a profound truth that science, in its relentless pursuit of empirical evidence, was only now belatedly beginning to comprehend. The Earth was not simply exhaling, releasing pressure through volcanic eruptions. It was actively inhaling, drawing something in. And humanity, caught completely unaware, was trapped, suspended in the balance, held within its very breath. The ancient prophecy, whispered through generations, was now terrifyingly fulfilled. The scientist, once a detached observer, was now transformed into a witness, a reluctant prophet burdened with a terrible truth. As the world crumbled, we reached for ancient words, not science. End-time stories from the Quran, Norse sagas, and the Book of Revelation felt like breaking news. The earth was casting out its burdens, just as the Quran foretold. Ragnarok began with natural disasters. Revelation described burning earth and poisoned seas. These weren't just metaphors, they were chillingly accurate descriptions of geological cataclysm. Perhaps our ancestors weren't just telling stories, perhaps they were remembering, or warning. These tales may be inherited memories of past traumas encoded in myth and religion. A reminder, the world is fragile. The gods we feared were not above but below. The end was never about judgment from the sky. It was always about awakening from the depths. And now, the planet was awake. Apocalypse doesn't mean destruction, it means unveiling. What if this cataclysm is not an end but a beginning? A violent birth of a new reality. For centuries, we saw Earth as a resource ourselves, as its masters. We ignored the living power beneath our feet. Volcanoes, earthquakes, storms, mere malfunctions, we thought. But what if they're signs of a living consciousness? The eruptions are not chaos, they're the planet's immune system fighting a fever. That fever is us. The apocalypse is the end of our self-centered worldview. The Earth is not dying. It is waking up. We are not passengers, we are the infection. Our science, philosophy, and religion were built on a false premise that we are the only thinking beings here. The true unveiling is our insignificance. The planet is alive, and we are simply in its way. The world is not ending, our illusion is. While mystics looked to the heavens, scientists found their own prophecy in data. Volcanic activity and climate change were linked, but we ignored the feedback loop. We treated Earth like a machine, believing it could absorb our mistakes. But melting ice caps changed the weight on the crust, releasing pressure and increasing magma. Like uncapping a shaken soda, eruptions surged. We worried about rising seas, not rising mountains. Our pollution changed not just weather but geology. The awakening was not random or divine, it was our doing. We pushed the system out of balance, the dominoes fell. The planet fought fire with fire. Science didn't comfort us. It confirmed our guilt. We were not victims. We were the architects. The apocalypse was of our own design, and the Earth responded. Astrophysics grapples with profound questions about the universe, its origins, and our place within it. One particularly intriguing concept is the Great Filter. It's a hypothetical barrier that in theory stops most civilizations from advancing to interstellar travel or even long-term survival. It suggests that somewhere along the path of evolution, a significant obstacle wipes out most species before they can reach their full potential. But what if the filter isn't some external cosmic event lurking out there, but something much closer to home, something within? Perhaps it's the moment a species develops the capacity to fundamentally alter its own planet, the power to reshape the environment on a global scale. It's a test of wisdom, a trial by fire. Can we learn to live in harmony with the delicate balance of nature, or will our newfound power ultimately lead to our self-destruction? Looking at our burning world, the melting ice caps and the rising sea levels, it seems we already have our answer. We reached the filter, and tragically, we failed. The Earth's awakening, the increasing frequency and intensity of natural disasters, is not some external enemy, but a direct reflection of our own short-sightedness, our greed, and our unsustainable practices. For a century we relentlessly extracted resources, burned fossil fuels, and consumed everything recklessly, without regard for the consequences. We ignored countless warnings from scientists and environmentalists, blindly believing that progress and economic growth could continue endlessly without limits. The ultimate cost was the stability of our world, the very foundation upon which our civilization was built. The Great Filter, therefore, is more than just an abstract theoretical concept. It's a psychological mirror reflecting back our own flaws and failings. It asks a fundamental question: are you as a species truly mature enough to wield such immense power responsibly? We played with fire carelessly in a house made of straw, the volcanoes erupting, the storms raging. These are not the filter itself, they are merely the inevitable consequences of our actions. The true filter, the real obstacle, was our own hubris, our arrogance, and our lack of foresight, and tragically it appears we have failed the test. This cataclysm destroys more than cities, it destroys our illusions. For centuries we defined ourselves by conquest of land, sea, sky, and each other. Now, the roles are reversed. We are the ones being conquered, tamed by a planet in revolt. Our technologies and weapons are useless against Earth's raw power. A single eruption dwarfs all our bombs. We are not fighting an enemy. We are facing consequences. The awakening is as much psychological as geological. Our drive for growth and short-term gain led us here. The fire and ash are the physical manifestation of our greed. We are not separate from Earth. We are part of it. When we poisoned rivers, we poisoned ourselves. This apocalypse is not punishment, it's a diagnosis. The planet has a fever, and we are the disease. The only question, will the patient survive the cure? The mirror is unflinching. This event forces a fundamental question. Where are we really? We think we live on Earth, clinging to its surface. But what if Earth is a living organism, and we are inside it? We are like microbes in the gut of a cosmic creature. The ground is not the bottom, just another layer. Volcanoes are its pores, oceans its circulatory system, atmosphere its breath. Our civilization may be a minor irritation, a colony of microbes causing indigestion. Our apocalypse is the planet taking a cosmic antacid. It's humbling to realize our insignificance. We are not masters, not even main characters. We are a biological process within a living planet. When a part becomes cancerous, the organism fights back. This is not malice, it is biology, and we are being purged. We stand at a precipice not just of survival but of understanding. The world we knew is gone, certainties shattered. The planet is now the main character, its story reaching a climax. Myths and science both warned us, but we failed to listen. We mistook the Earth's sighs for geology, never imagining the inhale. Now, a new kind of listening is required with our bodies, our souls. The next time the ground rumbles, will you dismiss it as random or listen for intention? This is the question that will haunt the survivors. As we move into this strange new world, we must learn to listen. The next tremor may be more than an earthquake. It may be the Earth's next breath, and what it exhales next will shape our fate. Like what you've just experienced? Don't forget to subscribe and keep questioning everything.